Good morning, world. Good morning, Kitty Q. Welcome to this morning's coffee brew. I hope you had a pleasant week. Francie, good morning. Hiya to you as well. I hope you had a great week. Glad you could be here with me this morning for coffee brew. Kevin Brand, good morning, Kevin. Welcome to this morning's coffee brew. Crime recap show. I hope that you had a great week. Give it another couple of minutes here for people to roll in. I know it starts off slow. Good morning, Sprinkled Donut. Good morning to you. I hope you had a great week. And welcome to this morning's Coffee Brew Crime Recap Show. We only got 3 cases that I want to cover this morning. Good news, my husband just got his 100% VA disability rating, finally. Well, good news. I mean, I know it's hard to fight the VA. I've been through that. So have quite a few of my friends, Kitty Q. But yeah, I'm glad that he finally got his disability rating. Francie says I'm vaping. Why the hell not? Says Francie. Okay. I've tried like maybe 1 or 2 of those over the years. Just not my thing. But some people have been successful at using an aid like vaping to actually quit smoking. So if that's what your goal is, good luck. All right. Well, we'll give it another 30 seconds, and then we're gonna get the party started on the recap. It's kind of odd the way that the YouTube hasn't been sending out notifications. I haven't gotten a notification yet that I'm live, and I'm sure quite a few other people won't get them either. They just happen to stumble upon it. That's the way it goes, though. We're kind of at the mercy of YouTube when it comes to notifications. That's why I tell people just print out a calendar, like the month, like I do, and just write on the calendar what time. Every one of these live shows that I do are always at the same time and on the same day, Saturdays and Sundays. But All right, let's get it. Get the morning's coffee brew going. Thank you again, everyone, for being here. Francie hasn't gotten notification either. It happens, and I don't understand why sometimes it doesn't, and sometimes it doesn't. Francie, welcome to this morning's coffee brew crime recap show, where we spill the beans on crime, both hot and cold. This isn't your grandma's recap show unless your grandma's into unsolved mysteries with quirky humor, in which case, props to her. Here you'll get today's top stories, dive into chilling cold case files, and explore those sneaky pages, two stories that everyone else missed. And I do mean, page two, that, stories that people, haven't reported on. Either they got some local press, or they've been widely ignored, in the national press. So grab a cup of Joe and join us while we serve up a steaming mug of mystery with a dash of comedy on the side. Additionally, some of the content you're about to see is disturbing in nature. These stories may have received some local media coverage and not been seen widely reported by on a national level. Each story presented here is supported by at least 4 sources to ensure the accuracy of the information. Whenever possible, I will provide links to each story and credits to the individuals who submitted them for coverage during this presentation. Please note that there may or may not be a little will, and you currently do not see a little will because of this morning I needed the entire screen for each of them. So there may not be a little will segment and for the more in-depth discussion of facts without my ugly mug. First story comes to us out of the state of Kentucky. Sheila Mann, age 31, allegedly, according to court records, forced her young child to stay in a dog cage that measured 36 inches by 21 inches for days on end with little to no food or water. All the while, the child, whose name has not been released, because they are a minor and under the age of 10. We just don't do that kind of, bleep in a just society. Had their hands bound with either rope or twine while they were inside the dog cage. Sheila allegedly did this to punish the child for behavior she didn't like, which included taking food after they weren't fed, drinking water from an unapproved cup. This abuse took place allegedly over the course of 4 months. Sheila has now been charged with all of the following. The strangulation of a minor, because there are reports that, according to the child, that she would be let out of the cage. Her mother would sit on her, either her back or her chest, and choke her, and then make her get back into the cage. So she has been charged with strangulation of a minor. 2, unlawful imprisonment. 3, child abuse with 3 enhancements. These enhancements are the following: binding and gagging a child under the age of 12. That is the first enhancement. And so it's child abuse with that enhancement. The second enhancement is verbal abuse and neglect of a child under the age of 12. That is an enhancement on top of child abuse in the state of Kentucky. And the third and final enhancement is unusual cruelty to a minor under the age of 12. So each child abuse charge that she has been charged with has 3 enhancements. She has received 4 child abuse charges in each one of those. So 4 plus 3 additional for each one of those. So if you look at it, it's a page and a half long of all indictments. And the fourth one is making terroristic threats to the child. She told the child on several occasions, according to the child and others who were in the house, that they heard her make threats to kill the child while the child was in the cage if the child did not, start listening to her. Her family has posted her bond and has hired her an attorney. As of July 24th, 2024, Sheila has yet to enter a formal plea to the charges she has been charged with. During her time at Madison County Correction Center, man allegedly joked with law enforcement officers what kind of monster would do something like this, and it all seemed to be a joke to her, according to several law enforcement officers. She made a formal statement to WKYTV station. I have never done anything like this. I have always had a job as a caretaker, which will be hard to disprove since the day of the actual arrest, when they came to investigate the actual crime, the child was in the dog cage with the door actually closed and secured with rope or twine. It's hard to tell because they interchanged the word rope and twine multiple times in the story, depending upon which source you see, you go with. So there's a link at the bottom if you want to watch, or read more about it. This little girl has now been placed with foster care, which is actually a parent of one of hers, either the mother's side or her dad's side. But the child has been placed with that the family, and Sheila is to have no contact with this child in any means at all, because it would be an additional charge if she did. This story was sent to me by Rachel W., who wishes not to have her last name used in any live stream. But she sent me the story, and the story was written originally by Liam Quinn with WKY-TV station in Kentucky. Excuse me. Next one is from New York City, or New York State, sorry. Hillside Cemetery. This is a creepy one. An unknown man has been seen walking the cemetery over the course of the last year. Nothing out of the ordinary there. Some people walk cemeteries for exercise. Some are just visiting graves of their loved ones. However, the issue here seems to be a little bit more unusual in nature than someone just stopping by to pay their respects or out for a stroll. This unknown man has hurried away and refused to speak with any caretakers or anyone approaching him. He has also been seen leaving a single flower and coins on the headstones of people who passed away under suspicious circumstances or were homicide murder victims. 3 of the graves are of women under the age of 35 who were murdered or died underneath questionable cases, where foul play had been suspected but was unproved. All 3 of these women passed away between 1980 and 1992. Law enforcement is not saying at this time if any crimes have been committed, but they would like to speak with this gentleman and to understand his intentions and to aid him in any way. If he's looking for a certain grave, or if he was just somebody who knew all 3 of these, these women in particular. This story again was sent to me by Rachel W. and was written by AP writer Usam J. That I do not have a link to this story because it is behind a paywall with the Associated Press. And by a paywall, in this case, I'm speaking that you must have either press credentials or you must have access to the actual Associated Press's website. And this is not the website that is available to the general public. But I have seen some stories covered on news outlets additionally, but where in that area, but I haven't been able to find an actual article that I could share. Next is Christopher Dunn. Christopher Dunn served 34 years for a murder he didn't commit. He was sentenced to death for the charge of murder in the first degree. Last week, the state Supreme Court tossed out the conviction on several grounds, citing violation of his constitutional rights, evidence was tainted even when the trial took place back in the 1990s. Think that's crazy enough for the story to be covered here? Well, hold on to your knickers. It's about to get even crazier. The state attorney general is refusing to put a stop to his execution date. Even though the state Supreme Court has found that he was innocent of the charges, the state attorney general is refusing to abolish his actual execution date, even though a month from now he may be out of prison. On top of that, his inmate number cannot be taken out of the system, nor can he be released from prison with a sworn execution date. So the Supreme Court decided, the higher court said, look, you're an innocent man. We know you got railroaded. You served 34 years in prison for a murder you didn't commit. We want you to be released. No trial is needed. We know who really committed the murder now. We're going to go after that individual. But the state attorney general, when now they have to have a court date, before his actual release court date that says, we need this, the execution warrant, squashed, because even if they say, look, you can go home, he can't leave the prison because his prison ID number would still be valid and the warrant for his execution would still be valid, meaning he could be in prison and they still could, if they never get this resolved, it could come to the execution date where the state says, all right, you're on death row and you've been here for 34 years. It's your execution date. Would they execute a man that the state Supreme Court has already ruled, is innocent and should go home? How long does the state attorney general want to, yank this, or push this or kick this can down the road? But he's refusing. And when reached by reporters to ask why he won't do it, he said the justice system must prevail and it must go forward as is intended. Meaning he wants this thing to go to court, waste more tax dollars and everything else to have another court hearing on if the execution warrant should be abolished, on top of the fact that the higher court has already said, oops, we fucked up. That this man is innocent and just spent 34 years of his life in prison. He's making them drag it all out and have every single court case and every possible extension while this man just sits there. So Christopher Dunn served 34 years in prison for a murder he didn't commit. And the entire time that he's been in prison, he has always sworn, even before he went to prison, he wasn't the man who committed the crime. He has always maintained his innocence. All right, question of the week. It's a new segment that I'm adding to each and every Saturday morning coffee brew. But this is a question from an actual viewer on a recent live stream. It was a trivia night where I covered John Wayne Gacy. I said that John Wayne Gacy had sold several paintings while in prison. What was the most any of his paintings sold for while alive or after death? The answer is the most expensive painting ever sold by John Wayne Gacy sold for $288,110 with auction fee. $2,900 in pocket change was the actual fee. It sold the day after a one-man show of John Wayne Gacy's paintings in Las Vegas in 2011. Of the $288,000, not a penny of it went to John Wayne Gacy. This is the second owner of the painting who sold it after the one-man show. The painting you see on the screen in the upper right is of the actual painting. Here's a closer up, of it. It says, "May the God, Christ be with you always." I don't particularly see this as a very good painting. I think he's done better work with the dwarfs or Snow White or some of his other paintings. But this is the most expensive painting ever recorded officially. Now, there have been a lot of John Wayne Gacy's paintings that are out there. that have sold in private parties from one party to another or from one gallery to another. And they don't have to disclose what they paid for it in all to the public. But this one is the largest sale because it was in a public auction, and that's what it sold for. There were a total of 4 people who bid on that painting that you see on your screen there that John Wayne Gacy did. And it does look like there is a crease down the middle, and that is because it was creased before it ever was put on a stretcher. It was put on a stretcher later. So in the middle of it, going across, you will see a actual crease mark. All right, fake or real, you decide. I'm going to present 2 actual cases that have been widely, published on the internet. Maybe one of them started off on Reddit, and somebody then took that as a real story and reported it in the news media, either a newspaper or in the evening news, someplace. But both of these stories are out there. You can find them on the internet if you look for them. But one is real and one is completely fake. As in, there is nothing about the story at all that is even remotely true, that has ever been reported and has a verifiable source. Your job is to pick out the real one. You don't need to tell me, which one is fake. Just say, I think number 1 is fake, or just put a number 1 or a number 2 in the comment section. 2 is real, whatever. So here is the first one. Colorado Springs, Colorado. A 46-year-old man, only known as Robert, was arrested for taking too many free items left at the curbside by residential homes with a sign that said free on. There's actually a city ordinance that doesn't punish the person giving away items for free, but the person taking the items. This was meant to curb people from illegally scrapping. In case you've ever seen it, the most popular scrapping channel on YouTube just happens to have the name of Taco. The YouTube channel is called Taco Stacks. And the man goes around with a van from home to home. Items are thrown away, or discarded in and around Boston area, in the suburbs, of Boston. And he scraps all of them. He picks up all the metal because they don't have a metal recycling program in that area. If it's a wash machine, a dryer, a lamp post, whatever it might be. But he'll take that stuff, and then he might take other things that he finds interesting, or he could resell at a flea market. But Taco Stacks, I'll give him a shout out here. That's the name of the largest YouTube channel on for someone who does curbside recycling. But there is an entire genre out there. There are a whole lot more people out there that are not as popular or as famous as Taco Stacks. All right, is this the real story, or is story number 2 the real story? Story number 2, Granny is in jail again. That could be the actual headline for the story. A sweet little old lady and grandmother who is 87 years old wasn't really arrested, but was detained in the back of a squad car for giving away cookies to neighborhood children without a permit. She did receive a ticket for $55 and had to promise the court she would never do it again. The mayor of the city paid the ticket and gave her a lifetime permit and said the law was foolish and not being enforced as intended. Is story number 1 real, or is story number 2? Which one of the 2 stories is the real one? On a side note, additionally, along the lines of number 2, I've seen, and read stories about, little children who had lemonade stands who didn't have a permit, and that a Karen, somewhere in the neighborhood has reported the child for having a lemonade stand without a permit. I have a friend who actually, had to go through the process. Their daughter decided to have a lemonade stand and also sell ink pens. I don't know why. You can't put a lot of logic behind what children do, but that's what she decided to do: sell ink pens and a lemonade at the same time. But they had to go through the permit process to actually get a permit in their subdivision for her to have a lemonade stand and to sell pens. The permit cost, I think, it was like $30. So $30 right away had to come from somewhere. Good morning, Tina, and welcome to this morning's Coffee Brew. Tina is going with number 1 and 2. Francie is saying number 1 is real and 2 is fake. All right. The correct answer, ladies and gentlemen, story number 1 is the real story. This entire story and series of events took place in 1989, 1990. The citywide ordinance at the time has since been abolished. The last individual arrested for this, his name was Robert J. Ism, and was the last person charged and convicted under the law. His record was cleaned afterwards, and after they threw it out when it went to court. But he took to talk radio and made fun of the law. Otherwise, we would never have known, which one of these stories is real. But that was back in the early 90s that he took to talk radio to, nationally. He was, I believe, he wasn't on Howard Stern's show, but he was on another talk show like Coast to Coast or something like that, and talked about it. But number 1, but they used to have a law in place that didn't you could put everything you wanted out on the curb with the sign on that said free, and they wouldn't do anything to you, but they would to the person who came and collected it. Now in Colorado Springs, Colorado, they now have a curbside recycling program for plastics, paper, and for metal, aluminum cans, or whatever it might be, general recycling. They have bins now. So I don't know if there's a law in place that would stop someone from going through your recycling, but I'm sure the city would act harshly on that if you were taking money out of their pocket. So a lot of municipalities, they charge not only they charge you for the bins on a monthly basis, like in my area. They charge me $10 a month for the recycling bin, and then the city recycles all the items that are in it, and then they collect that on top of it. It's just a money maker for the city. I mean, I don't have to have the bin. I could take it down to a local collection area, and where they have bins for plastic and glass and newspapers and and aluminum, and then they have a large dumpster for other metal items, and they also take paint, car batteries, and stuff like that they can be recycled. State can make a few extra bucks. Yeah, state and city. The city where I live, they actually put out an annual report of how much money they made from the recycling program, and it's in the hundreds of millions of dollars that they've made recycling, copper, aluminum, plastic, and paper. It's all recycled, and it's all then resold back into the recycling market. But a lot of plastics is a scam. Not all plastics can be recycled, even if they take them. A lot of them are shredded up, and it may end up in a landfill. Others will be melted down and used for incineration. Good morning, Rykart. Oh, you didn't know I was live, Rykart? I'm sorry. Well, I hope you're doing well, and hope the idiots of the roadway are staying out of your way. Hope your health and everything is doing good as well. I have recycled by throwing it in the trash. There you go. You don't have to do it, Mike. Some people like to recycle, reuse, reduce, recycle, and others are nope. In my area, I live in an HOA. If you don't recycle here, you get a ticket from the HOA. We have a collection area in our HOA where if you don't even want the curbside bin, that you can take it to the end by the front gate area, and you can recycle it there. You don't have to have the curbside pickup. But yeah, there are those people, who have better things to do with their. That's all they do with their time is just drive around looking for violations. Yard's not mowed right. Your mailbox is not high enough. You have an unapproved lawn ornament. Your car is parked too close to the driveway. You have an unknown. It's all kinds of stupid things. There are good things about living in an HOA, and there are horrible things. Overall, I would say that my HOA is a pretty decent area. It's not something that where I have a lot of problems with. I mean, I would be in deep shit if they ever found out about all of this. I mean, to them, to all my neighbors, it's just a normal garage from the outside. But if they can't open the door. But if I was to ever leave the door open, they look inside, and it's basically a garage with a building inside of the garage. But we built this entire thing, all the walls and ceiling. We built it off-site. We built it at my friend's house and brought it here one section at a time, and then everything's put together with lag bolts. So all we had to do was just put one wall up and then lag bolt the next one to it. Will, do you have dollar stores where you live? We have Dollar Tree. We have Dollar Mart, which is an offshoot of Dollar General. I mean, you wouldn't know the difference between a Dollar General and a Dollar Mart. They look exactly the same color scheme, layout, everything. I don't think they're the same company though. But we definitely have dollar stores here. I think the last time I went to any of the dollar stores was, it might have been Dollar Tree, but Dollar Tree is not even really a dollar store anymore. It's everything is $2.50 and under now. But last time I went there was to I bought ashtrays and I think rope. Kind of an odd, shopping list, right? Ashtrays and rope. I bought the ashtrays. I bought every damn ashtray they had because the place that I golf at, for some reason they only had like one ashtray. All the rest of them got broken. They're all plastic, but they all got broken and they just never replaced them. So they have like 30 tables outside in the smoking area, but one ashtray for 30 tables. So I went and bought a whole bunch of them. Kitiku, you're looking forward to trivia. Trivia tomorrow night is, for those who are interested, is Juan Rodriguez Chavez, the thrill killer. Juan Rodriguez Chavez. And I can already feel the judgment that is going to come down from tomorrow's trivia, because I am absolutely terrible at pronouncing like Russian names and Spanish. I don't speak it, I don't read it, but I'm terrible at pronouncing it. So, and there are a lot of Spanish names in tomorrow night's trivia, and I can see the comment section already. You are an idiot. You don't know how to pronounce that name. You pronounced it wrong. Right car, I recycle plastic grocery bags. Colorado and California don't give you plastic bags though. No, they don't in Washington State anymore. Right car, you won't get plastic bags here either. Walmart doesn't have any plastic bags at all. They make you buy one of the reusable bags. If they have plastic bags left, they're just using them up until they're gone. Here at my grocery stores like Kroger, um, Safeway, Albertsons, Yolks, Fresh Market, none of them have plastic bags. It's either paper or you have to use a reusable bag or nothing at all. But that's the way it's going. But you can still go into every single fast food restaurant and buy plastic and get plastic straws. I think they outlawed plastic straws in California, probably Colorado as well. And I don't know about Oregon, but you can also still get the plastic things that hold 6 packs of beer or soda together. You can still get those. Well, who gonna you gonna vote for? Ha, just kidding. To tell you the truth, Francie, I'll answer the question. I don't know. At this point in time, I don't know. Will it be a Republican? Will it be a Democrat? Will it be someone from the Green Party, an independent, the Communist Party? I don't know. I have no idea. Frankly, with when it was just Biden and Trump, I don't want to vote for either one of the two. So, and I don't want to vote communist. I don't want to vote Green Party, and I don't want to vote independent either. Because I'm sorry, John F. Kennedy Jr., the man is a freaking nut, and I don't want to vote for him either. I can't believe that they thought that that's the best person to put up for the independent ticket. That's why we'll never have a true third-party system in America, because they keep on putting people up like him on the independent ticket. That impersonation of dumb person, perfect. A paper straw is perfectly fine. Yeah, it depends on the quality of the paper straw, Francie. I've had some that really, really suck, and no pun intended there, but where they collapse in on themselves while trying to drink something, just soda or a tea from them, or they become super, soaked, and they fall apart before you ever even finish the drink. But it's the world that we live in. Instead of making, they already have the technology to make plastic items that biodegrade, in rapid time, or make them from other, plastic sources. You can make a plastic or a biodegradable straw container, instead of styrofoam, you can, or a plastic jug that you have laundry detergent in. We already have the technology to make plastics that will biodegrade in a third of the time and will never pollute the ocean. If they do get into the ocean, they biodegrade into nothing, and they're never a harm to the environment because they're made from a more sustainable source. Plus, they have more plant extracts in them. I mean, I'm not 100% on the science behind them, but I've seen them done. I've seen them at expos and stuff like that, and I've seen documentaries like in India after they harvest all the sugar cane, and other plants that and they mulch it up into a mulch and they make trays out of it and they make silverware, they make straws, but you can't get them anywhere because it's cost prohibitive. Why would you want to spend a half a penny when for 1/16 of a penny you can get a straw? It's all greed by the actual chains and people who use the stuff. Did anyone here try Taco Bell's new menu? No, I haven't had Taco Bell in years. Not me. Rykart says, I turned Republicans. I was brought up Democrat by my parents, but this election turned me Republican. And Francie says JFK is Looney Tunes. Oh, yeah. Well, besides the amoeba that's eating his brain or ate his brain, he came up with that entire excuse about the amoeba eating his brain, so he wouldn't have to pay as much alimony during his divorce or remember that he hid assets. It was just a way to screw his ex-wife. That's all it was about. But back to Reichardt's, Democrat, Republican, Independent, Communist, Green Party. I don't care who anybody votes for. That's your choice. That's what you want to do. I absolutely refuse. This is just for me. I refuse to vote down any one party line or declare myself in either an independent, Republican, Democrat, Green Party, or anything. I vote for the person I believe can truly do the job the best. If it's a Democrat, a Republican, a communist, whoever it might be, if I believe that they can truly do the job the best, that's who I vote for. And when it comes to the split of the Republicans versus the Democrats, when was the last time any president of the United States made any difference in your life at all? True. Yeah, one may release on a short-term basis oil reserves and drive the price of oil down, for for a temporary limit, maybe saving you, a couple $100 in your case, right, Cart, more a couple $100 in diesel. That makes a hell of a lot of difference when you're spending $1,000 to fill up your truck. A couple $100, I can see where that would be a benefit. Me, myself, and the amount of driving that I do, a couple $100 would take me a month to see something like that. But after they drive the price down, it always goes back up because the reserves is gone. Yeah, it's a temporary, but if you take them and across the board and you look at the entire balance of it all, it doesn't really make a whole hell of a lot of difference. So again, I refuse to vote, one party over another. I vote for the person that believes going to be the best for the job. JFK Jr.'s dead. Well, whichever John F. Kennedy, the one that's on the independent ticket, John Kennedy. So Mike, but yeah, you're right. The pretty boy, he died in an airplane crash. You're right. The one that was saluting, his dad's coffin as it rolled by. John F. Kennedy Jr. is deceased. You are correct, Mike. But this is another John Kennedy. I believe he's from Ted's side of Ted's family or one of them, because it's kind of weird. Instead of like John naming all of his kids, John, it was like one of the other brothers named one of theirs John instead. I really like the shredded fresh cabbage and new avocado sauce at Taco Bell. Yeah. Trump is for truckers. Is he? I don't know. But now instead of Biden, we got Harris. And I don't see how Trump's going to be able to really attack her. I mean, he's going to. The Republican Party is definitely going to put out their smear campaign against Harris because that's politics, ladies and gentlemen. But how is Trump himself? You understand he's going to be a real hypocrite on a lot of things if he says that and attacks her politically, because throughout her career and her being an attorney and running for a state's attorney general, the entire Trump family gave money to support Harris's election campaigns. If she was good enough to be an attorney general and other political office that they supported financially for her to be in, how is he going to attack her on anything else on the political stage of being president? Okay, I guess she was named the czar for border security, which is nothing. It's a made up bullshit position. The czar of the border security can't go to the border of Canada and shut the border. They can't go to the border of Mexico and shut the border and say no one comes in. That has to come from from political office, from the Senate or president. but they can make sure that their policies are, put forward. What happened to my finger, Kitty Kill? I burned it. I burned the living snot out of it. Me and my friend were doing plastic welding. I don't know if anybody knows what plastic welding is. we're we were fixing the bumper. Well, I guess you call it a bumper because it's not really a bumper. It's like a piece of plastic that goes over the metal actual bumper and styrofoam. But he had a crack in it, and I was helping hold it, and I couldn't move my hand. I only had like a quarter inch maybe on each side of my finger to move my hand, and I was holding it, and the plastic dripped down on the top of my finger, and I got a first-degree burn on the top of my finger from the melted plastic. I've never paid attention to hairs till now. Yeah. But again, politics is politics. The more we fight amongst each other, the easier it is for those talking heads in Washington to get away with things that nobody wants them to do. Either line their pockets with hundreds of millions more, or pass laws and regulations that take away our rights, like they did in the name of security after 9/11, and then reestablishing the security issues that then, and the spying on the general public and reading our emails and following us. Trust me, I'm on a watch list somewhere. If the FBI doesn't have a file on me, something's really effing wrong with this country, because they should, for the amount of stuff that I have on this one computer. I mean, I have no nefarious, intentions, but I definitely do an awful lot of research on, people who are missing and murdered, and serial killers and everything else. Just think of the treasure trove of, little bits and bytes of information that's on that one computer. Now I have two computers sitting right next to each other. One is just for doing research and stuff like that, and this one that I'm doing live streams on, and I do video, I upload videos on, is completely separate. I keep them separate on purpose. Good morning, Amelia, Kyra, Ora, Will, and community. Good morning to you. Yeah, it's going to take time to heal, Kitaku, but I got it on finger here and on the bottom side of my other the hand here, on the palm. The palm, this part here, peeled already. Well, it's still red, but this one keeps on inflaming up, and I don't want to get gross. I'm trying to think of a nice way to say it. Relieving itself of plasma. Trying to put it in the nicest way I can. Okay. Trump is a surviving victim of gun violence. I don't care what, they'll give you a little bit on that, right, Cart? I don't care what side of the aisle you're on or who you align yourself with. The entire thing, the entire assassination attempt on Trump was stupid and uncalled for. And that's what they want more than anything, is to now hold one person up, as the savior, and the other one as the evil one. And each side wants to do the same thing. But killing your political opponents, or wishing them ill will like that is just wrong. It's wrong on so many levels. It's not pus, Mike. There's a difference between when something heals and it being pus, and when something is healing and it's like a plasma base, or one is like more of a milkier looking fluid, and one is clear and it looks like water. And that the clear water is more of a plasma based trying to heal the actual wound. I went to the doctor. I have the ointment and everything else in the hospital I went to the express care. So I'm just telling you what the doctors told me on that. But at least it's not green and brown anymore. That's what it was doing for like the first 4 or 5 days after it burst. Un-American. Yeah. Yeah. But it's the world we live in, though. Again, they want the more we fight amongst each other over who's the best and what political party we align to, they can get away with more and more. Divide and conquer. It's simple as that. And if you're anyone who is a history buff at all, look at all the other examples throughout history, from the dawn of man to at least to the point where we had the written the ability to write and log history. We've seen this happen over and over again, and we don't want to go down that slippery slope, but we're going there because that's where politics has gotten to. Hate that person over this person. Trust this person, distrust that person. This party is worse than this party. This is the good party. This is the bad party. Divide and conquer. While you're fighting amongst you and your neighbors or your fellow truck driver or moving company or whatever you may do for a living, fighting amongst yourself, you're not paying attention to what the other ones are doing. And that's a given fact. You have no idea what's going on, behind the screens, because nobody watches CNN, live coverage of the Senate. And even if you did, they make it confusing as shit that you have to have a master's degree, in law, and a master's degree in bullshit to figure out what the hell even anybody is even talking about. And when they pass laws, some of these laws have 900 pages to them. Who the hell's reading that? You think a senator is sitting down and reading 900 pages? No, that somebody from their political party said there's something in there that's really good for us. Let's vote for it. But that's the system we have. I mean, it's as flawed as it is. It's better than a whole lot of others out there. Good morning, Gemma. Pat Brown, the criminal profiler, thinks it was an inside job. I have not heard of Pat Brown. Is he a former FBI agent, Mike? Pat Brown? Because I watched one a video the other day about a profiler who used to work with the behavioral analysis unit, and he doesn't think that it was an inside job or anything like that. He believes that the idiot who shot at him at Trump and killed the bystander, he thinks that he was more of like a patsy, that he was pushed to it by other people with other means. I mean, because looking at the background of the kid, I mean, he was kicked out of the gun club for being a poor shot. He decided that he was going to take out the president from 150 yards away. If he had any training at all, for long range targeting, we'd be looking at a whole other story, if he was actually successful. And thank God he wasn't. Okay, I want to make sure everyone's clear on that. He was a famous profiler from the 1980s. Oh, okay. So he's not the same guy. I don't remember the guy the profiler that I watched the video on the other day. I was watching Donut Operator, in case you guys know who that is, and it was like the next suggested video after watching Donut Operator, or maybe it was Brandon's video. know. I'd have to think about that for a minute. I'm pretty sure I was either watching Off the Ranch, Demolition Ranch, Donut Operator, or one of those other channels. I was watching one of those, and then it was like the next suggested. It might have been Off the Ranch, because he had all of them on there at Range Day, and then it was like the next suggested video. Doing good. I'm doing good, Gemma. I hope you were doing well this morning. I'm a video behind. I saw that you released another video the other day, Gemma. I haven't watched it yet. I'm a video behind, or at least one. I'll watch it later on this afternoon. After this, I get to go inside and change, because I'm changing the oil on my wife's cars, plural. I have to do an oil change on both cars. So the one car is simple as hell, the other one not so much. The newer one, they don't make it easy to change the oil and then reset the stupid computer system to say that what the life of the oil is. So my friend's going to come over and help me reset that. And I guess the only way to do it is to actually get into. He has to plug his reader thing in, whatever that thingy bobber is, and go through that way. That's the only way to actually clear it. But well, Gemma, I hope you don't have another anxiety attack. Just remember, breathe in, breathe out. Close your eyes, breathe in, breathe out. Or take up meditation. If you read about meditation, breathe in, breathe out. I know that sounds like it's something really simple and anybody can do it. But if you know that your body and you know who you are, and you know when you're getting to that level, of either anxiety, stress, anger, just remember, breathe in, breathe out. A lot of people think that Trump's assassination attempt was staged. Can you believe that? Trump is an alder. I'm drawing a blank on what an alder is right off the top of my head, right, Cart? That's bad. I know the word. But yeah, I've seen it all over the news about that they believe that the whole thing was staged. Of course, there's conspiracy theories on both sides, of it all. And then there's the 4chan people out there, who believe that aliens have something to do with it, and they put out stories about that. And I'm not shitting you at all. 4chan actually put out an article on the internet that there was an alien from Rigel something another, or some planet in another galaxy, that came here and is able to take the appearance of a human being. So much law enforcement able to watch him ride up on a bicycle, grab a ladder, get up on the building, and nobody questioned it. I'm like, okay. Oh, okay. Trying to avoid homicidal friends, relatives who want to help you with propping up the car. But isn't the internet great? I mean, it's like the stories that I do here, fake or real. The criteria for each of those stories, for when it comes to the real story and the fake story must have been shared at least 400,000 times. 400,000. And there are certain programs that you can download or or buy the actual program. I have a copy of as well, but I'm not going to give them a spew because I'm not happy with them. I'm not going to give their name. But you can actually see how much reporting is done, like in political system, how much is being done on the right on a story and how much is being done on the left of a story. And you can also then on the search box put in the criteria and it'll tell you how many times this story has come up on the internet. And that is one of the criteria that I have, for the fake story. It's got to be shared at least 400,000 times. Where did it start? How did that story even get out there in the first place? Was it a Reddit story that somebody then picked up in mainstream media? I wish that was a joke, that mainstream media would never pick up a story off of Reddit without actually, back checking or fact checking anything on it. But unfortunately, it happens an awful lot. So then you have to ask yourself, if mistakes like this happen and mainstream media picks up these fake stories and report them, what is the actual factual basis of the real stories and the other stories that they're reporting on the news? How much backstory did they actually put in? Don't forget, at the same time, we've had reporters who said that they were in Bosnia during the Bosnian conflict, the war in Bosnia, who reported on the genocide, who never left the state of North Carolina. They were supposed to be in Bosnia, and they reported everything from their living room in Bosnia, saying that they were in Bosnia. We've had reporters report, on the hurricane flooding in Florida and saying that the water, flooding in is, 8 feet deep, and they report by standing next to it. And then you see somebody walk by on the street on the opposite side, and it's a little bit deeper than ankle deep. That's the type of media we have out there. We've allowed these media companies to strip all the actual, reporting from the actual media, and like, we'll go with independent journalists because we don't have to pay them benefits. We don't have to give them a full wage. We can pick and choose which ones we want to report on it. And then we print it in our newspapers. We put it on the evening news. We put it on our website, and we don't have to, fact check everything. And if we do find that a story is wrong, we'll put a little blurb on page number 12 that says that the story was wrong. Okay. Or bury it somewhere deep in the, and a link to a link to a link on your website. Because that's the world we live in. Nobody wants to do anything anymore, and they certainly now don't want to work because they want to make more money for the profits for the shareholders, because that's important. You got to bring in those advertising dollars. You have to get more people to click on your shit. There used to be, the evening news, man, in the 1980s, always lead with the headless person in a car accident. That's the news. That's what brings the person in. The headless person in the car accident, or the sex scandal with Gary Hart, screwing his receptionist. Those are the stories that we want. And use a political, your entire political career would be over with if you got caught in a sex scandal. Your political career would be over with if you were caught, committing adultery, or if you got caught with a minor age child. Look at the people we have running for president right now. Tell me which one hasn't been caught in a sex scandal or, committed adultery or any of the things that I just listed. I'll wait. You can't. Independent, Democrat, Republican, the guy who's running on the Green Party ticket, and it's not Ralph Nader, by the way. He's finally given up that, that lead on the Green ticket. But, he still might be on there as another independent of something. If he's dead or not, they're still going to put him out there. But look at the entire thing down the line. You might as well write in Mickey Mouse for president. I'm not telling you not to vote, though. Your vote counts. But the system is flawed. It's deeply flawed. In the last 40 years, we've gone completely the opposite direction from where we had been for, when it comes to people for political office. And that is the end of my rant on it all. You're going to do a video on social anxiety. I look forward to it, Jenna. Oh no, not Mickey. I'll go for Jerry from Tom and Jerry, though. It's a joke. I don't really want people to write in Mickey Mouse for president, although people do. And what's funny is after each and every election, even in your county level, city level, you can go to your county auditor's office and you can get a printout of all those who were actually written in. Every place in the United States can do it. If you have a write-in candidate for any political office, school board, city mayor, if you have a coroner, whoever, if you have the ability to write it in on the ballot, you have they have a printout, and they must make it available to the public of every single person, a list how many people wrote that somebody in and who it was. So you'll see, well, how many people voted for Mickey Mouse, or for maybe they wrote in what this person over another. And there are people who will write in everything from Abraham Lincoln to Ronald Reagan, for president. They'll write them in, even though they're obviously long gone, but they'll write them in. And across the United States, you'd be surprised how many people actually get votes. Maria Shriver's dad, Sergeant Shriver, contributed a lot in his lifetime. Wasn't Maria, was she married to Arnold, the Galvanator? And then he cheated on her with the maid and ended up having a kid with the maid? The Galvanator. Or maybe I'm thinking of somebody else. Interesting, though. I'm sure. Will it ever get better? I mean, we have to keep hope alive that things will get better. I just wish people would think more before they act. When it comes to politics and in their lives, I wish people would think before they act, but they don't. I know people who will vote and will never even pick up a voter's pamphlet. They have no idea who the rest of the people are. And regardless if they're voting by mail-in or they're voting in person or on a computer or on a piece of paper, they're like, oh, I want to vote for the president. So, but they have no idea who all was running for any of the other political offices on a year like this. They might be running for for Supreme Court or state Supreme Court or district court judge. They don't know who they are because they never picked up a voter's pamphlet and read it. So they just thought, wow, I like that name more than another. And that's an actual proven fact. In the Boston, Maine area, they did an actual study. You're 3 times more likely to become a judge or someone in political office, connected with law enforcement, if you have an Irish-sounding name. 3 times more likely. The people who don't even have an Irish-sounding name, who have changed their name purposely to taking either their husband's name because it sounded more Irish, but they've already done the studies on it. I'm not talking out of my ass. I mean, like that's a proven fact. Yeah, she married Arnold, who was the governor of California. You're right. He cheated on her with the maid. I don't understand why anybody would ever do something like that to someone else. Adultery. Get a goddamn divorce. I mean, yeah, divorces are expensive, but why would you do that to someone? I'll never understand that. And to everybody out there that's ever been cheated on, I'm truly sorry that it's ever happening, either as a marriage or boyfriend girlfriend situation, or whatever it might have been. I don't care if who you are. What you do behind closed doors, that's your thing. It's not my thing. Who am I to judge you? But if you've ever been cheated on, my heart goes out to you. I just don't understand. It's like people who abuse children and the elderly. I'll never understand it. It just makes no sense to me, and I can't wrap my head around why somebody would do that. You don't want the child, you hate the child, give the fucking child away. There are plenty of people out there who can't have children who would love a child. You can't take care of your parents anymore, and instead of abusing and neglecting them, fuck, there's places you can send your parents besides a glue factory, or turn them into Soylent Green. There's other things you can do with them. You don't like the person you're with anymore. Instead of staying in that marriage, it's loveless, and you want to cheat on them, fucking get a divorce. It's not that hard. Why murder someone when you can just get a divorce, right? I mean, if Christopher Watts would have got a divorce, we never would have heard about him, and I never would have to look at his ugly little mug again, and never have to make another video talking about his stupid life or the stupid conspiracies behind his life and why he did this shit. Because there's a certain section of people out there when it comes to Christopher Watts who are never ever going to believe anything factual other than what dickhead one arm chair detective had to say. They believe everything that he said to the gospel end. But they're convinced that there's someone in the shadow, that Nicole Kissinger was there that day telling him exactly what to do and who to kill next. They believe this shit. There's no facts to it at all. Nothing. Zero. But they believe it because some idiot on the internet told them so. So, isn't that lovely? And those people will take it all the way to their grave. They will believe that idiot was 100% right from thousands of miles away, knew something more than what was happening, more than what the documents from the court said. He knew more. And all these years later, these people still believe it. Oh, well. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to wrap up this morning's crime recap and long-winded chat and rant that I had. I hope that everyone has a great day today. Stay inside, depending upon the temperature, where you are. I hope you're able to stay safe. Tomorrow, again, trivia night, 4 p.m. Pacific Coast time, 5 o'clock Mountain, 7 o'clock on the East Coast. Judge accordingly. Write it on your calendar. I always do them at the same time every weekend. Same time for the morning show and for the trivia. If you haven't been there, I hope that, if you have a moment of your time today, stop in your YouTube and go to your YouTube and see if my channel actually shows up as a subscriber and if the bell icon is on. That's the only thing I can do is suggest that you do it. And I know for a fact, YouTube has told me over and over again, if you turn off notifications on your phone, it will turn off not notifications to the phone, it turns it off on YouTube. So you won't get notifications on your tablet or your PC or any other device. And that includes television. Is it a flawed system? It is, but we have to play with the system that YouTube gives us. But everyone, have a great day. Smash that like button if you would, if you haven't done it, or hit the thumbs down. You know, whichever it is. You all have a great day today. I do think Nicole was involved somehow, though. She may have had some type of psychological, force on him about leaving his wife, but I don't think that Nicole Kissinger talked him into killing his wife and his children. She may have had some part in that, and for that, you are right, Amelia. She had more of a part in it psychologically in pressuring him than maybe she even knew of. Maybe it was, something that she was doing subconsciously. But have a great day, everyone. Until next time, bye.